Hey, what up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you with the December 15th edition of Monday Night Raw Talk. First big thing of the night was a big surprise to me. Everybody knew that Chris Jericho was going to be returning. I honestly thought it was going to be some sort of a return to him wrestling inside of the ring, maybe saying that he was going to be entering into the Royal Rumble. As I listened to him on the Law today talk with John Pollock, I was sitting there as he was sort of describing how it was the worst time for him right now to get into wrestling, just openly yelling at my radio, "You're a liar! You are lying to us right now!" And he had that smirk in his voice that you could I just really thought I was seeing through something, and that basically we were getting a big return tonight. But it seems that with what fell into place, that the Chris Jericho thing is just a one-time appearance. He will be going off and doing the things that Chris Jericho does in his time away from wrestling, and maybe we will not be getting him for WrestleMania 31. Maybe it will be a little while before he comes back, but he always says on his podcast, he's coming back to wrestling. It's going to be very sooner than you think, and when he does return, it will be in a return that no one has ever returned before. Basically, Chris Jericho came out to the ring, kicked off Monday Night Raw as the guest GM. You would think that he would get a lot of cheers, and he did. He basically said that he wanted to be out in the ring, getting all these cheers all night long, and just basically soaking this up for all 3 hours of the show. But he did have business at hand, and basically he asked for Fandango to come out to the ring. But instead of Fandango, he got Paul Heyman, who came down to the ring and basically said that they had business to talk about. From there, they were interrupted by Seth Rollins, who came down to the ring to whine and cry about the outcome of TLC, basically saying that in the John Cena match, he did put John Cena through a table, and the referee didn't see it. So basically, he felt that he should get a rematch tonight, which basically brought out John Cena. John Cena came out, and they all bickered back and forth. John Cena was trying to talk to Paul Heyman about having the match with Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble. He was, trying to get, Seth to see through the things of basically everybody being crazy talk. Basically, Chris Jericho got down to business as the GM, basically saying that tonight we would get a rematch between Seth Rollins and John Cena. This would be held inside of a steel cage as the main event of Monday Night Raw. From there, basically Seth Rollins got what he wanted for, so we no longer needed to suck up to Jericho, taking a shot at Jericho, basically saying that Jericho was out of shape from being out of wrestling, and that even good old Paul Heyman right there could beat him in a fight tonight. So basically, Jericho took that as a challenge and basically said that he would fight Paul Heyman in a match tonight. Being the GM, he would have that kind of power, and that it was up to the members of the WWE Universe on the WWE app to pick which kind of match they would have. When it came down to business, picking on the app, basically they picked this to be a street fight. Paul Heyman tried to get out of this match as much as he could, basically saying that he would write Chris Jericho a $200 check. The money that he was owed from ECW. I know on the Chris Jericho podcast where he talked with Sabu, Jericho didn't really take shots at Heyman, but basically just said that Paul Heyman would always run a commercial selling a tape of the only match ever between Chris Jericho and Sabu, and he said that commercial ran from the days after the match in ECW all the way up until ECW, and running all the way up until the dying days of ECW. And Jericho or Sabu both said that neither of them received royalties off of ECW and Paul Heyman selling that tape over and over and over again. You would think that they would run another commercial, maybe highlighting another tape if it wasn't selling. You would think that probably was one of the biggest ECW tapes that they were selling at that time. Basically, Jericho didn't want any of Paul Heyman's money, kicking the checkbook away. The announcers had a good fun time, basically trying to make jokes about Paul Heyman and his ECW checkbook. From there, basically, they started the street fight where Paul Heyman tried to run away, and he was running away. He said, basically, "I don't know why you'd want to start a fight with Brock Lesnar." Brock Lesnar's music hit, Paul Heyman smiled, and Jericho just stood still. It basically stood still as a ghost, basically not knowing what to do. Both of them came face to face, and basically Jericho didn't know what to do, so he did what a wrestler would naturally do inside of this, and he threw a punch, which Brock Lesnar just sort of looked at him and shrugged it off. From there, Jericho tried to hit the code breaker on Brock Lesnar, who basically just stood there and didn't do anything. He just basically just looked at him as Jericho bounced back. Brock picked Chris Jericho up for an F5. Then, basically that was it. That was all it took to defeat Chris Jericho. Paul Heyman raised Brock Lesnar's hand, and basically everybody in the crowd chanted, "We want Cena, we want Cena." Cena did not come out this time. Basically, they just let Brock and Paul Heyman walk off. I guess John Cena's going to count down the days until Royal Rumble. It's somewhere in the 40 to 50 day range. Then when that match is going to be, we got a few weeks to play with. Leading up to the Royal Rumble, it's not like that. It seemed like 2 weeks for TLC Survivor Series. Boom, boom, and then here it is. Wow, I can't believe it. But man, they're saying this is the one to end it all. John Cena versus Brock Lesnar. It's hard to think of a feud with John Cena where he's not going to get the win out of this, because more than likely it's going to be Brock Lesnar walking away from WWE, and this is a feud that Cena's probably going to have, where everybody's going to point at, saying like he beat everybody. He beat Triple H, he beat Shawn Michaels, he beat no, he didn't beat The Undertaker. I apologize, that's another guy. They had that one match a long time ago, and that basically was it. But Cena's beat Batista. He's beat, who else is Batista beat? Not Batista, but who else has Cena beat? Cena's basically beat everybody. And he's not going to be able to say that he beat Brock Lesnar if he doesn't win this one. That's why Royal Rumble's going to be so big this year. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure you guys are looking forward to that Rollins versus Cena match down the road too. Let's see how that works out.